What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making a video about the 6.7. So this right here is my 2017 F250 6.7 Powerstroke. If you didn't know, this is the first year of the AlumiDuty, which means first year of the new body style that carried aluminum body panels. With that came a new frame, new basically everything, slightly updated 6.7 engine. I don't know if they changed the transmission at all or anything else, but there was many changes to this truck compared to the previous models, the steel bodies. What I'm going to be explaining in this video is what you should expect if you were to own one of these or buy one of these used. This truck is a 2017 with 216, 445 miles. You can see I've taken pretty good care of it cosmetically. No dents or damage, just one dent on the passenger side of the bed. Super small. You see the tailgate's got normal wear and tear. Oh, excuse me, no wear and tear. A couple scratches here. One really small dent right here above the F x4 emblem. And I just recently picked up another small dent right there in the door. Other than that, besides rock chips, paint peel, the exterior is really in pretty good shape. I mean, this paint peel right here is the worst, and then this headlight's pretty faded and ugly. But that one was replaced when it hit a deer. So I did hit a deer with it. Anyways, I'll show you the interior real quick. So the interior is in really good shape still. I'm not sure if the seat's ever been reupholstered. I highly doubt it. I mean, I bought this truck at 139,000 miles. And it really hasn't changed any. And I don't slide out real bad. You know, I keep my running boards and actually use them. So the interior's in really good shape. The only thing I noticed is this right here recently started to wear off. And the steering wheel, you see all this is wearing off. Other than that, all the stuff works perfectly fine. And I'll go ahead and start off with explaining everything that happened before 200,000. And then we'll go into detail of everything that happens after 200,000. Because I will say I've had more problems in the last 16,000 miles, I'd say, than I did in the first part of having it. And I know where this truck come from, so I know its history, and I know that it never had any issues before I got it. This thing was perfectly fine for the first 139,000, and I got it, deleted it at 142, smoked a deer at 147, and I'll go ahead and explain to you real quick all my issues. So I don't remember what came first, but there was a line of events that happened relatively close together. The first issue I had out of this was exhaust manifolds. And that was a pretty pricey job because it warped the manifold, broke the studs off in the head, blah, blah, blah. Paid a high-end diesel shop to fix it. It's like 4,000 bucks. So I did a number on the exhaust manifolds. Obviously, I deleted it. There was nothing wrong with the emissions equipment, but I just didn't want to put DEF in it, so I deleted it before it ran out. So I had that happen, and then right after that, like a week or two later, a cylinder number 8 glow plug went out. Guy didn't charge me anything to replace that. He did a lot of work for me in the past, so didn't charge me anything for that. And then within the same kind of time period, I'd say, the backup camera quit working. So that was a deal that I didn't fix till just recently, and I'll go into this later on in the video about my recent experience at the Ford dealership. What a nightmare. Because this thing's only been in the shop 3 times since I've had it. It's never left me stranded. But I'll go over in depth everything that's ever happened. So the exhaust manifold, the backup camera, and the glow plug number 8, I think all happened before 200,000. The other thing that happened before 200,000, now this is self-inflicted injury from 4-wheel drive boosted launches in a hot tune. I broke this passenger side axle U-joints. I didn't break them, but I wore them out and ruined them. So I left them bad for a long time, and they flopped. They tore up this hub assembly. So I had this hub assembly replaced at another shop that did terrible work, and then the wheel almost fell off, blah, blah, blah. I didn't tighten stuff down, etc. Actually, it might be the driver's side. I don't remember. Either way, it messed stuff up in there, and then as soon as I got it back from that, my automatic 4-wheel drive didn't work. So I figured the vacuum hubs didn't work, whatever. So then had that fixed again. Never did fix the vacuum hubs. And then I have different hubs now, but I'll get into that in a minute because that happened after 200,000. I'll explain everything that happened. So besides that, those issues, and gosh, see, I keep remembering stuff. I had to replace the hood shocks. I don't know why, but they were out before 200,000. Before 200,000, this was early on in the life at like 147,000. I hit a deer, smoked the bumper, and it took out a bunch of stuff in the front end. So it had new AC condenser, tons of new stuff in the front end. It was like $9,000 plus the ranch hand in repairs. So leading on now to the stuff that happened after 200,000. This is where she started to go downhill. So it started like a week after hitting 200,000, I'd say. Literally a week later, if that. It was at 200,600 miles. I remember exactly. The battery light came on for no reason, right? You crank it up, you get ding, 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 ding. Service charging system throws a code, right? So whatever. Been dealing with that forever. Left it on. That happened. What else happened? Oh, the AC quit working. Noticed that this summer. So that was after 200,000. But that could be related to issues when working with the AC before, whatever, I don't know. The AC quit working. What else happened? The tailgate latch quit working properly. The tailgate step was aggravating. The hooded jar light started coming on for no reason. Go down the road, ding, 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 constantly. So I looked it up, and it looks like you have to replace this assembly, and I don't know what it costs, but I'm assuming it's over $100. And I was like, surely I'm not going to replace this whole metal good thing because it's telling the hood's a jar. So what I did was, because I was, in fact, I knew my hood wasn't a jar. I knew it was aluminum. So what I did was, I don't know where the plug is. It's down there somewhere. But anyway, I just hot wired it, so now it just assumes the hood's closed all the time. Which is just fine, because the hood light still works when you bring it down. I don't know if I have to shut it all the way. Bring it down, open it up. The hood light still works. Everything still functions as if the hood's open. So I'm not too concerned about not having a hood ajar sensor because they didn't have them back then. They definitely didn't have them back then. And they didn't have them back then. Good girl. So with that being said, that was my solution to that problem. Hot wired that. Whatever. When I talk about the tailgate, this is what I was talking about. See that? You have to use two hands. And then the tailgate step's just kind of getting funky. You can't really do it with one hand. You kind of got to mess with it. But then again, for those of you that don't know, I absolutely work this truck. I mean, it's pulled way too much heavy weight. It's been a real work truck. And plus, plenty of abuse. Another thing that happened, relatively recent, was this turn signal quit working. Now, this whole mirror was replaced when I hit the deer, because, I hit stuff after the deer, hit a reflector. And then that destroyed this mirror. So this was repaired at the same time as the deer damage, so about 2 years ago. And this turn signal quit working. So I was like, oh, that's kind of BS. Whatever, because the other side was original. And the driver's side was starting to crack and get ugly anyways, just from age. So I had these replaced. That was $600 to replace 2 turn signals at the Ford dealership. So now I can talk about that. This is after 200,000. Well, this winter, I needed four-wheel drive a lot, obviously. And so I was constantly using four-wheel drive, got stuck in the mud over there real bad. You can see where I just brutally ruined this wheel. And then all of a sudden I went to leave and four-wheel drive was stripping, making horrible noise. Long story short, stripped a hub. I said, you know what, no more BS. I know the automatic doesn't work anyway. So I went and bought Warren locking hubs with a good warranty. So that was that. Then, here comes the worst experience. See, that's screwed up. So, I'm going to get into this now. I had this thing worked on in the past by SMA down in South Carolina. Now, I have nothing bad to say about him down there. If you guys are back east, down southeast, I'm in Montana now. But if you're in the southeast, anywhere near South Carolina, check out SMA Powerstroke Professional. They are the absolute best. Everything I've ever done from 7.3 to 6.7, his work is unmatched. It's extremely neat. I've never had any problems with any of his work. Nothing has ever went back because he did a crappy job. Everything's been fine. He's never caused any issue. Everything's done perfectly neat. He replaced this octopus hose, and it wasn't like the fittings were bad, but they must have went bad because, you could see one of them had zip ties on it. So what I did was, and it had a bulge in it when I bought it. So I was like, I'm going to just replace it. So I got a new octopus hose. He put that on there. Everything was done nice and neat. So now we're going to get into the Ford dealership story, and I don't want to throw them on blast, but by all rights, I really should, because it is completely ridiculous. So the first thing is that they brought it in, the AC wasn't working, whatever. They said, oh, no big deal, it was just overcharged or something like that. And then they said, oh, it's just the AC clutch. Then all of a sudden, now it's the compressor. Now it's the whole system. So then they fixed the AC, right? They didn't put that freaking cap back on, right? All these snaps were missing in this. This thing was completely sitting here flopping because they put a new serpentine belt on it too. This whole thing was flopping. See, I still didn't get all the pins. Didn't have enough. So all the pins were missing except for like 2. Completely unacceptable, right? The AC, I'm surprised it works. I'm really glad it does. If it didn't, I would have done had to come apart. Anyways, they replaced the mirror, right? You wouldn't even believe it. After I get it back, not even after I get it back, when I go to the dealer to pick it up after hours, I immediately noticed walking up that the mirror down here is like a 1/4 inch gap between these 2 pieces of plastic, right? And then there's a piece of plastic hanging down underneath the blind spot. So I knew they broke something. I was like, geez, if you're gonna break it, at least hide it so I don't know. Anyways, so I took it back. Oh, well, I guess I need to finish it. It's still not perfect, but I guess I'll finish explaining all the mess. They put a new backup camera wiring harness, right? And now the backup camera doesn't work right. Now it's all blurry in the bottom half. I could barely see my hitch. Didn't fix that right. Then I get it back, and multiple times when I had the gooseneck, they fixed this, right? So they fixed my tailgate, and then multiple times it fell down going down the road. And I was like, oh my God, about destroyed it with the gooseneck. They didn't put these back on. So I was like, okay, replace these. They were missing. I told you to replace them. So I did that, and they fixed my tailgate needing 2 amps to open. Then I get it back, and it's back to the same thing. And they're like doing the walk around with me, and I said, yeah, it's fixed, except now my tailgate handle is open. So they're like, oh, it opened earlier, and then all this was loose. Like, that was not like that, so all this got broke from them, definitely. Anyways, a complete disaster. The tailgate, they obviously didn't fix it right. You know, it's still not smooth and fixed at all. And then, not to mention, the backup camera wiring harness was hanging down. I don't know, I didn't look at it again, but it was hanging down, touching the leaf spring area, flopping like this. And they just did a completely sloppy job. I don't know what they ended up doing to fix it. See, they run a whole new harness. Looks like they just threw some more zip ties in it and did the basics like they should have in the first place. And I don't know if zip tying it to the other wiring harness is the way they do it from the factory, or zip tying it up like that to random stuff. I don't know if that's the way they run it from the factory. I don't think that's how it was ran before. However, so they fixed that. They rigged my mirror back up, I guess you could say. Oh, and this puddle light right here, see, it's not snapped in right, or the other side. They both keep falling out because they broke the clips. So on the way out, as I pull out of the dealership, this falls out. So yeah, it's just, long story short, the Ford dealership completely robbed me, charged me $3,500, and it was a complete mess. This right here, ridiculous, right? Why is that cap missing? Simple stuff like that, right? You worked on the AC, put a cap on it if you don't have one. These clips missing. Found a socket sitting right here. You know whoever was working on it was irresponsible, right? See this floodlight trying to fall out? I just pushed it up a second ago. But both of them were trying to fall down. The mirrors weren't put back together tight at all. And it's just unbelievable. So $600 for these stupid lights. Whatever, you name it. So that was my experience. And I think I've got it covered for all the problems I've had out of it. A couple headlights and taillight bulbs, whatever. As far as the interior, it's great. No problems there. The doors, sometimes they squeak, sometimes they don't. Explain that one. These two are not squeaking at the moment. This one was squeaking horrible earlier. It's not now. It's really weird why they just come and go. The driver's side's pretty much consistent. I've tried spraying all of this with WD and lithium grease. I think it just needs replaced. There's nothing I can do about it. As far as the technology in here, technology inside the cab, everything's worked perfect. The heated and cooled seats on the driver's side, I think, are a little bit shoddier than the passenger. A little bit more wore out. Hi, Joe. You know, I don't expect these things to last forever, but overall, this thing has been a very amazing pickup. You see, I got a cracked windshield there. Oh, maintenance. I guess you guys want to know what to do for maintenance. I'm pretty slack on the maintenance side of things, I'll be honest. But I have my own theories on that because that gold 7.3's got over 700,000 with the oil changed, sometimes over 25,000 miles, and that's running Rotella T4. This truck is the original CP4, etc. Tons of original, oh, brake calipers. I didn't have to do any brake calipers. I had to replace the mounting brackets. Just throwing it out there. Simple, not a big deal, except you got to buy a whole caliper because you can't get the bracket anymore. Just simple by itself. Anyways, maintenance, I pretty much went by the rule of thumb, just watched what my dad did growing up, and he never worried about it. Never was a critic for oil or fuel filters or maintenance. And I have my own theory on it. You can call me an idiot. You can say whatever you want. I don't care. It works for me. It matters to me. Oh, I would never buy a used truck from you. Good, I don't care. Because guess what? I don't sell stuff. I'll probably keep this truck forever, buy another one, whatever. But what I do is, every 10,000 to 12,000 is when I used to change my oil. And I run Rotella T6 5W40. Been running that for a long time. I ran 1540 in this truck before during the summer, but I quit because I was like, you know what? Severe duty, wintertime, I don't want to have to worry about it. I'd rather keep the same oil in it. So I used to go 10, 12, 14, maybe 15 here and there. Well, recently I decided I was going to go 15,000. So I went a little over 15,000 miles on the oil exactly, which takes me about 6 months. And I went ahead and sent it off to get an oil test. Well, exactly what it read on the oil analysis was that this is no ordinary 6.7 and that blah, blah, blah. The oil was in better, long story short, the oil was in better shape than comparable 6.7s at the same miles on 7,000 mile intervals. And that was going 15,000. There was plenty of additives still left in the oil. It was still in really good condition. So they responded basically that I should try and go 18,000 miles. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try 18,000, send it off, test it, try 20,000, see what happens. I just think over-maintaining vehicles is a big scam. It's a lie. I mean, this one's got 216 now, and it's been fine. Fuel filters, another scam, right? I go about 30,000 on oil or fuel filters, and every time I change them. Now, this probably varies depending on where you get fuel. If you travel the country, if you go to truck stops, you go to corner stores. But I always fill up around here in Montana. Most of the time, you know, I travel, I go to truck stops, and around here we have Town Pump, a couple of good ones that just always get fuel refilled every couple days. And I've never had a problem with my fuel filters. I pull them out. A little bit of metal shavings in the bottom, but that's not the CP4. That's just from stuff getting filled in, you know. Filter doing its job. And so, yeah. Fuel filters, never had a problem. They always look clean. I did run a fuel additive some. I used to run Hot Shots EDC, or EDT, Everyday Treatment, whatever they call it. And I thought, okay, it works. But then I actually noticed I really actually got worse fuel mileage. And then I got to thinking about it. What's the number one cause of CP4 failure, right? Number one cause. Contamination. Hi, dear. Contamination, right? So what my thought process is that if I have no fuel additive, or if I do, right, the fuel additive, it might help, right? Cetane booster, whatever you call it. It might do some stuff, add some lubricity to this diesel fuel. It might help in the long run, right? It might help the pump go 500 instead of 450, okay? But most of the time, it fails because you get a bad batch of fuel, you put gas in your diesel, you put DEF in your diesel. So, in my eyes, there's no way that fuel additive is going to save you from either one of those anyways. And if that's the number one cause, then I'm just going to take my chances, and I'm going to get better fuel mileage and not have any issues, because this pump's just fine. Another thought that I have on those fuel additives is, I feel like I see a lot of people that, and this kind of goes across the board for all the maintenance, right? I see people that go 15,000 on oil, 30,000 on fuel filters, or worse. They never take care of their stuff. They never maintain anything. They don't change their rear diff fluid, which I'm guilty of that, or your transmission fluid. They don't do anything. And they get 200 plus out of a pickup, and they have no issues, right? A couple minor things that were like self-inflicted, like pulling a gooseneck 100. You know, of course the manifold's warped. Of course the U-joint broke. And the other stuff's not even related to any of that maintenance stuff. I've seen people go crazy miles. My dad never maintained his 7.3. Well over 700,000, it still runs. And then I see the opposite end of the spectrum. I see people, oh, I got to change my oil every 5,000. I got to change my fuel filters every 10,000, or sometimes even worse than that. Oh, I got to run fuel additive and everything, injector cleaner so often. Blah, blah, blah. Got to change everything. Do this, do that. Rotate my tires 20 times. Make sure I grease the front end. Make sure I do this. Make sure I do that. And then their motor blows at 100,000. So, to me, it's all more like luck of the draw. Now, obviously, I don't know. Actually, I kind of argue it. It's not really obvious that if you do more maintenance, it's going to last longer. Because, obviously, you don't have to do routine 5,000-mile oil changes to get to well over 200,000. And the reason I make this video is because there's a lot of videos out there of 6.7s and, you know, 6.7 Cummins, even Duramaxes, Toyotas, whatever. A lot of these pickups have made it to tons of miles, and people make reviews on them, but what people fail to realize is this pickup with 200,000 is way more impressive than a pickup that pulls a gooseneck down the highway for 500,000. Because this one's been abused, it's been through real life events, it's been stuck in the mud, it's been in 4-low, just foot to the floor, wow, getting unstuck, it's done donuts, it's done burnouts, it's done boosted launches, it's lived in Montana down this horrible road I live on every single day. It's filthy, it's riding on rough washboards, in the wintertime it's nasty potholes, tons of snow, slush, you know, you're in 4-wheel drive, spinning, getting stuck here, stuck there, you name it. Mud and grit. I mean, this thing's never clean. In the wintertime, it's caked with mud. So these pickups that actually are real-world pickups that take 7 years to get 200,000, that's a lot different 200,000 than a truck that gets 200,000 with the cruise set at 70 with a gooseneck. It really is. You're not going through the gears, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'll go ahead and explain my anticipated issues. So, now that we're at 216,000, right, we're heading right for 300. And I'll probably be there in 2 years. Well, with that being said, what's next? I have a few suspicions. One being definitely front end components, right? You can't tell me that these dang ball joints ain't tired. And I'm telling you, I have never had bad problems with tires wearing funny except for ridge grapplers because they're junk. But I've run these same exact mud tires before, and I actually just switched to these because of the road I live on, which now I'm picking up boulders. But I pulled an enclosed trailer in my all-terrains. The recon grapplers were just throwing so many rocks and tearing up my trailer. And plus, I was tired of the way it looked with them ugly recon grapplers. So I went and I got some new Toyo MTs. I've had these before, 33,000 miles, good tires, whatever. Got them again. 12-ply rating. So they're good, load range F. And I really like these tires. Nonetheless, I don't have any tire wearing issues. I don't have any vibrations. Don't have any pulling to the right, pulling to the left. Nothing. The front end is the original front end, original ball joints. And like I said, this thing every single day is up the washboards, up the steep hill, pulling goosenecks. This, that, and the other. Just everything vibrating apart. And somehow the original front end is still there. So I definitely anticipate the front end stuff. With that being said, front end, right? Another thing, I anticipate a reseal. Now, I don't know how rapidly this problem is going to keep getting worse. It really hasn't gotten any worse, but it definitely seeps oil from just about every single nook and cranny on this thing. Now, I hear it's pretty common on the 6.7s. Now, I never deleted the CCV, so that's probably partially my fault. So, you see, it's just got oil seepage everywhere. You can see right here. And the side of the engine, I mean, look at that. That looks like a dang 7.3. Dirt and oil. And you get underneath it, it's wet. Oil pan's wet. It's definitely leaking from the upper oil pan, which is very common on these early AlumiDuties. And I think they didn't actually change the oil pan again until 23, but I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me on that. So I anticipate at some point, I'm either going to have to keep adding more oil or pull the engine and reseal the whole thing. I'm not going to pull it unless it's obviously so bad that I can't drive it and it's just making a mess. That being said, that reminds me that within the 15,000 mile change last time, it burned / leaked. I don't know where it went. It went through 4 quarts of oil. Not a big deal, right? It doesn't drip on the ground. Sometimes, I think it seems like when the oil is freshly topped off, like, and it's full, I don't know if it's in my head, but it does drip sometimes. Like, I've seen there be, you know, a puddle that big overnight after this thing sits. And then again, sometimes, like right now, there's nothing, right? It's not leaking. Make sure that wasn't broke out. It's headlight adjustment. So it does leak sometimes it doesn't. The transmission, I suspect, is getting a little bit worn. And keep in mind, I told you already, I've done boosted launches, pulled way too much weight, bulldozers, pulled dump trucks on dump trailers, excavators, skid steers, lumber, whatever, 4-wheel drive boosted launches, burnouts, you name it. Yeah, this thing's done it, right? And this transmission has kind of always done this. Not always, but for a long time, it's had the shift flare from 3 to 4. It'll rev up and bam, 4th gear. It doesn't do it when it's cold. It doesn't do it when it's hot. It does it completely random at random times. Like, it hasn't done it in a long, long time. But then again, there was one week where it just did it tons of times. I was like, man, my transmission's about to go out. But that was 30,000 miles ago. So the transmission's kind of bipolar. I don't know if it's ever going to go. It does kind of shift rough sometimes. You get on it, it'll bam, some gears, you know, it can be rough. And it'll slip sometimes, and it does feel kind of lazy. So if you stomp on it, it's like, it's like, you know, the trans feels lazy. It's probably working on going out. I don't see it going to 300,000. And again, with everything this thing's been through, 216,000 to me, what's wrong with that, right? I don't suspect any DPF issues anytime soon. The rear end is something I kind of suspect. Then again, I don't know. This rear end has made a whining, howling noise when I let off the throttle or when I'm lightly accelerating, like lightly just tapping the throttle. Whenever there's like coasting pressure on the rear end, it'll make like a whining sound. And I think it might have gotten worse over some time. Not sure. I checked that drain plug with the magnet, or the fill plug with the magnet on it. There was metal on it quite a bit. That was a long time ago. Like I said, it's been doing that for a long time. Don't know. So I suspect any minute I could have a rear end or transmission. Now, one thing I'd say is, if you're looking at buying one of these, right now they're okay. Because you can get this truck right here for $25,000 to $28,000 now with this kind of miles. I don't recommend financing it. If you can't pay cash for it, don't finance it. Because you're going to need money for repairs. That's just the nature of having a truck with over 200,000 that's this old, right? This thing is not a spring chicken. And, you know, it's got some miles on it, it's got some age. You buy one like this, it's going to have problems. If you buy one with really low miles, you're probably still going to have problems because everything's getting old. Wouldn't pay big money for one of these. I'd try and find something 2020 plus if you're paying over $40,000. If you're like me and you bought a 17 at the worst time possible, 2022, when interest rates were going back up and trucks were almost what they cost new with 100,000 miles on them, then you better do what I'm doing and what I did. Pay extra. Get your freaking 6-7 paid off. If you got an old truck like this and you're still making payments, $1,000 a month, and you have big repairs, it's going to break you. So pay the sucker off. Do whatever it takes in your power to make sure you don't owe money on this 17. Because owing money on a 7-year-old truck with 200,000, shoot, that's a disgrace. That's downright embarrassing. Anyways, everybody learns from their mistakes. Everybody goes through stuff. Whatever. COVID, you know, messed up the truck market for a while. And then now, here I am, look at it. You know, I'll tell you what I paid for this. And that's not near what I got in it. Because you want to tack in, you know, I financed it. I bought this truck when I was, what, 18? I financed this thing at decent rate, you know. It's nobody's business, so I don't need to go into all that. Regardless, $58,000 out the door, right? This thing was brand new. It was 66, and that was before the discounts. My dad bought one. Its sticker was 66, and he paid 61 for it. So I paid basically what this thing was brand new. Now, with all the repairs, all the maintenance, all the stuff went through, luckily this has been a pretty solid truck. So within the time I've had it, I've got well over 60, 65 in this truck. Well over that. But anyways, it's been a good truck. I'm going to keep it forever. Why not? Why would I sell it? Nobody was going to give you anything for it. One thing I'd like to point out with these 17 and up Fords is the frame coating. Look at that. Multiple winters of chemicals. The frame looks brand new, and it lives on a mud road. A friend of mine has a 22 Duramax with half the miles. His frame looks like a rust bucket. Anyways, I'm not here to talk bad about Chevy or Ram. They're all pretty good pickups now, or maybe not. The new one's kind of been a little bit questionable lately. Another thing, you get, you know, hood liner and hood light still in 17. You don't get that now unless you get a limited. So now that I've went over all the problems I've had, what I suspect's going to happen, cost of ownership, stuff like that, I'll go ahead and tell you guys the stuff I love about this thing the most. This is going to be the ultimate 6-7 video. I already know it, right? It's long. It might have some boring moments. Oh, well, while we're here, let's go ahead and cover a gripe. Asinine. I mean asinine. This does not hold a gallon. There's arguments. Some people want to tell me it does. It does not, okay? I've run the dang thing till it's completely out of juice. Does not work. Does not hold a gallon. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention when the Ford dealership was replaced. They never fixed the battery light. They replaced all of this, that, and the other. Battery light's still on. Couldn't fix that either. So that's a gripe. That's the main gripe under the hood, I'd say. pretty much everything else is good. The sideways drain plug on the oil pan, that's asinine. That's retarded in my opinion. The automatic and lock-in hubs, I like that. That's cool, especially if the automatic would work like it's supposed to. I love the looks of these things, the power, the smoothness, the interior, the seats are comfortable. The mirrors, I love these Ford mirrors, super nice, power folding, power extending. I love the sound system that comes in the XL trucks and these Lariat standards or value packages. You get the Sony, I think, and I'm a firm believer, it sounds a lot better than the B&O systems. The bass and everything about it just seems really nice. Anyways, I love the fact that on the new ones you can get carpet delete, because carpet in a pickup's retarded. Carpet in any vehicle is stupid because, I mean, it's not like it's your bedroom. It's where you drive and you put your nasty feet and work boots on. So there's no point in having carpet, in my opinion. The Ford seats have been reliable. No problems. Nice center storage. Nice features. The interior, I love the simple radio, the design of the dash, everything about it. Way nicer than 23. Steering wheel controls are nice. The windows are nice. The visibility out of the Fords is awesome. How this cuts down. Not like, you know, the flat dash now on the new Ford and the hood that's raised. So they kind of ruin that anyways. Still love it. Charging stuff in the back. The Apple CarPlay, etc. Love the tailgate step. That's unique to Ford, and it works better than anything else. The gripes, those tow hooks, terrible, terrible design. Love the gooseneck puck system. Don't mind that spray in the bed. Yeah. Don't really know what else there is to say. Besides, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you found something entertaining in here, something useful. I just figured it's been a long time since I made a 6.7 video, and with all the problems I had lately and everything that's went down, I figured, what the heck? I'll give you guys a nice updated video on my 6.7 and let you know exactly what I think you should do. I don't think you should buy one. No, I'm just kidding. I like them. I recommend getting one. Guess you guys want to hear what a 6.7 sounds like, don't you? You thought I wouldn't let you hear it? Oh, yeah. If you're going to do a 5-inch straight pipe, I don't recommend it. Sounds good when you're playing, revving it up and stuff. But if you're like me and you pull trailers like every day of your life, it gets terribly annoying because, like with my gooseneck, it's just ridiculous. The dang thing drones so bad inside the cab. Or my enclosed trailer, dump trailer, any trailer, it's horrible. So I don't recommend the 5-inch straight pipe if you delete your truck. Ooh, one more thing is the keypad. Amazing on the Ford. You lock the keys in the truck and unlock it, right? Sweet. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below what you'd like to see more of, and we'll see you in the next one. Just really quick, I wanted to throw this in the end of the video if you're paying attention. I'm not going to go over all these specs and information just because I don't have time and I don't care that much. So you guys can look and read through this, pause it if you want. But this shows every single expense that I've paid since I bought the pickup. Right here shows when I bought it, $54,000 plus BS, whatever. So then you can see there I only put $3,000 down, $950 a month for 72 months, 6 years. Right, obviously I pay a lot of extra and we're not owing $50,000. So 139 miles, that was when I bought it. Deleted it at less than 152, hit the deer 149, so I might have been off in the video some. 1 year, 173,000, April 23, 200,000 on January 17th. My accessories. Here's the maintenance. Oil changes, blah, blah, blah. Rotated a few times. Driver's side calipers, you know, you see some stuff, right? My brand new Toyo MTs I just got. Yeah, Ford making me mad, right? Repairs. This is everything you need to see right here. So if I forgot something, it's all right here. And you could see it. This is all when I hit the deer. Anyways, so there's that. This is all the stuff for the history of my 6.7.